Developments. Let's speak to former US Ambassador James Jeffrey, chair of the Middle East programme at the Wilson Centre. He also in the past served as US Deputy National Security Advisor. Jim Jeffrey, thanks very much for joining us once again here on BBC News. Now, you're very well versed in negotiations in this region. With all of these positive soundings, is it a place we've been before, or does it seem truly that a deal is coming now?
Thanks for having me on. No, they appear to be very close. First of all, everybody wants to get this in place before the Trump administration comes in, and God knows what that will bring. Secondly, the Israelis have achieved essentially all they can do militarily. Now it's time for the people of Gaza to see peace and for the hostages to come home. That's what this deal, if it is finally executed, and as you said, it is very close, will do, at least in the first phase. There are two other phases. But all in all, Tony Blinken and President Biden and the Israelis and the Arab states are all optimistic, so let's keep our fingers crossed.
Now, you've served under Republican and Democratic presidents over your career, and we're told that the Biden and Trump teams have been working closely on this last final push. Is that what's made the difference, that kind of diplomacy, do you think?
You know, it's the most amazing thing because we've had some pretty rough times going back to Vietnam when I was in my youth. On changes of administration and parties. But this one first on the Lebanon ceasefire and now on this ceasefire, there's been extremely close cooperation and coordination between the incoming team and the outgoing team. I cannot stress to your viewers how important this is for American policy and how important it is for, frankly, peace and security throughout the world if this continues. It's very, very promising.
And from what we've heard about what might come after an initial deal, the future of Gaza, the future of Palestinian people, from what we've heard, is that achievable, do you think?
Absolutely. I've worked closely along with a team of others on a plan that we published at the Wilson Center a year ago on the day after that is very similar to what Tony Blinken briefed. The key is American leadership, an international presence, a limited but real role for the Palestinians, and security, plus the idea, and this we picked up from the Dayton Accords, that you don't get all of the goodies, reconstruction, and all of that, unless you adhere to the security provisions of this agreement. That is critical, and I think that we have a good basis to go forward if, in fact, we can finalize the deal.
And is that why the Trump-Biden team's cooperation is all the more important? Because, of course, this will fall to those in the Trump administration to oversee.
That's true, and our plan, and from what I can see, what Tony Blinken's proposing, has an American, not so much on the ground, but an American leadership role. I think on the ground would be better, but that's tough politically. But the people that President Trump has selected to work on the Middle East, we know them all. They're experienced, good people. They're working well with the current team. On this particular area, I think the world should breathe a sigh of relief. On Greenland, on Panama, on Ukraine, we'll see. But on the Middle East, we're cooking with gas right here.
And how will this all be received in the Middle East, in the region itself?
Well, first of all, as your viewers are well aware, we have seen a revolution in the last 16 months. The destruction of the Iranian proxy movement through the region, a much greater chance for long-term security. Look at Syria, look at Gaza, look at Lebanon, even look at Iraq, look at Iran. And if the new administration, Europeans, Arab states, Turks and Israelis can all pull together, we can see for the first time in many, many decades, a Middle East that isn't an exporter of insecurity and terror and crisis.
I think this is the most hopeful I've heard you, Jim. I mean, we have you often on this programme, but you do feel the outlook is bright.
Right, but I'm hopeful simply because, and not everybody will like this message, it's because military force was used. Hamas could have accepted this agreement a year ago. It could have accepted the agreement when President Biden unveiled it on the 31st of May. Instead, it fought on. Thousands of people died. Likewise, Iran, Hezbollah, others, they challenged Israel. They challenged the United States. They challenged the international community, and we see the result.
Okay. Jim Jeffrey there, thanks for joining us here on BBC News.